got no problem stabbing into a 10-ply.
Well, welcome back, my friends. This one's been a long time in the making. This is the KBAR full tang fighting knife and another rousing rendition. Now, here's the deal. 1095 Crovan, I believe. This thing is straight production run. We are going to look at it as it is. I've had people since I've had it ask the price and availability, and I am sorry I didn't ask. I'll try to find out in the next upcoming day or two and let you guys know. Here's the thing, man. This thing is wicked. It feels amazing in hand, but let's look at it. And let me say this up front. You either love KBAR or you don't. Point blank, period. You're not arguing with me on that. The comments prove that. So you love them or you don't, but here's the thing. I have always loved them. This to me is just another piece in their collection, another piece in their run. So what I wanted to do with it is use it, actually cut. I wanted to cut and cut and cut and cut till the edge went dull. We did that. I wanted to see how long it would take to bring it back. Did that. Wanted to do a lot of stabbing, wanted to beat on it a little bit. Did that. Now it weighs in at 13.4 ounces, but let's focus right here, man. When I pop the trunk, we're just cutting. That's it. I know it's not super exciting. I know it's not thrilling, but I know this too. It shows an integral part of the knife. Now, this is a combat utility knife. We focus on the utility, right? Because to me, that is just as much an important aspect as the combat. So it cuts, it cuts, it cuts. This is probably the sharpest KBAR I've ever gotten in. We went straight from the package to here, okay? Other than cutting some paper. And I did a couple of shorts where it showed it. Now, let me show y'all something right here. You've seen in the opening scene a little batoning or chopping. You've seen me stabbing that 10-ply tire. I'll be the first to tell you, this tire I got from work, it's somewhat dry rotted. I can't believe it still held air. It did. Here's the thing with stabbing tires. I get that stabbing a sidewall is not that difficult. Get it? Got it? Good. The point of this is to see the grip on the knife. Now, whatever they use for the Becker series, that's what's on here. If you got a good size grip, good grip, you can hold on to it. I was impressed with the grip on this, to be honest with you. The idea behind this, though, is yes, it's to check the grip. Yes, it's to check the tip. The other thing is just to cut around this tire. Dry rotted or not, rubber tires will wear an edge down. That's the point. We cut up into the tread. We cut some wire. That was the point, to cut with this thing, and you see we come right back here, right after that tire, right after stabbing the 10-ply tire, right after doing all of that, and we cut that piece of ratchet strap. That is by design. This whole video is by design. The Donnie B all day drop test, throw it at the stump test. We're looking at the balance. The steel thickness or the blade stock on this, I got at 3/16. Let's go ahead and pull measurements. Here's the thing, man. I'm excited about this knife. We're not doing one and done on this one. You're going to see this knife a lot. We're going to keep on after this knife a lot. Now, here's the thing. The overall length on the knife, I'm getting right at 12 1/8. I pull them myself, 12 1/8 inches. I've got the cutting or the blade length at 6 7/8 with a 6-inch, well, that's not true, 6 3/8 cutting edge. So we've got 6 7/8 on the blade length. We've got 6 3/8 on the cutting edge. The blade width is 1 inch, looks like 1 3/8 right there. Here's the thing. This doesn't have the accented clip point that the other ones do. This is looks more like a modified clip or a drop point. It feels, I'm having a hard time describing it because yes, it feels good in hand, but you know how when you got a solid piece of steel, a solid blade in your hand, that's what it feels like. It feels like it's a good cutter, it's well balanced, but it's also just it's not a sharpened pry bar. And that it has the feel of a thicker blade, but man, it hangs in there. And I banged on it, I chopped on it. And listen, guys, some of the wood that we use in this is wet. You're going to see that. I left everything in. I left as much in as I could leave in. I had to get rid of some of it or it'd have been a 45-minute video. We banged and 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 stopped. And then I banged some more. The reason for it is, and please understand how I'm saying this. It's nothing towards you trying to be an asshole. I didn't do it for you. I didn't do it for KBAR. I did it for me. I wanted to prove to myself that whether it's the regular knife or this knife, I could use it, right? Now, we did some pretty stout batoning. In real life, I don't do that. I will, and I want you to hear me, if I'm in a situation where I need to start a fire and it is like it's been here in Florida the last few days, guys, Florida humidity is different. I'm not saying it's worse, it's different. We can get a rainstorm and it's going to soak wood through because the humidity is so high here, right? So for me, if I'm having to baton, then I'm in a situation where I didn't bring the correct tools. I'm going to have to use my knife. I'm going to have to get the wet wood away to get to the dry wood. So instead of getting frustrated with some of this stuff that was wet, clearly it's wet, I thought, well, we'll just act like we're in that situation. So we just baton down, we baton down, we baton down. Some of it will be wet and soft, and then we'd go right into a knot. This right here, the vertical batoning, I never do that. There's no need to do that except for this knife review. The edge held up really well. Now, the only thing, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you a real good look at the knife. We did a slight roll, but guys, you cut that much. If you cut as much as we cut and banged on it as much as we banged on it, it's going to get a slight roll. It really is. We literally cut until the edge was gone. I don't know that I've ever done that in a video before. Right here, you see that Florida swamp. You're going to see the damn vines that just are all over. Vines hold the whole canopy of Florida up. The chopping, I've got to mention this. The chopping on this knife, it didn't do good for its size. It did phenomenal for its size. And I'm not talking about just that little piece there. The weight on this knife is as well balanced as it is. And I'll tell you, most of the weight is back. The actual center point of this knife is probably an inch behind the guard, an inch down the handle behind the guard, meaning most of the weight is in the handle. So you wouldn't think solid chopper. What I did is I dropped my pinky off the bottom, and they've got some of the same accoutrements as the dog's head. It looks a little bit like that, but that bottom piece, they've got where it's got just a little bit of a bird's beak. I dropped my pinky under it, was able to get some really, really good leverage and some really good pop chops and then some really good solid chops. Overall, the chopping, if I was going to do 10 being the highest one, I'd go 10 out of 10 for the knife. It really, truly, honestly. Some people say, oh, go high. No, 10 out of 10. 10's the best you can do. It's a 10. Hit really hard. It hit really hard. And that brings me to this. When we start talking about combat utility, right? I don't know how much you would knife fight in the military. I've never been in the military. I don't pretend to be in the military. I do know this. You're probably going to use your knife more for digging holes, making shelters, opening gas cans, MREs, prying doors, doing shit you really probably not supposed to do with a knife than you are stabbing somebody. That's just a guess. The tip held up. Look right here. On these pull cuts, out of all the cutting, all the chopping, all the slashing I did, the tip still maintained a very, very good edge. Typically, when I stab a lot, that tip will wear down before anything else. I was amazed at how well it held up. And I was happy. I'm happy that the knife did well. Will I carry it? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And you're going to see more videos because one video does not provide enough evidence to me, whether it's Dutch Bushcrafters, Joe X, it doesn't matter. It doesn't produce enough data for me to really, 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 really go, I'm sold. Now, I've done enough videos to go, you know what? I'd carry it, right? But I want to go and I want to go and I want to go and I want to take this knife to the edge and to the limit to see how much better it is than the regular Mark II. And I'm saying that because everybody's bitched. Everybody's jumped up and down. Everybody's, you know, in this day and age of internet warriors, the full tang argument. I don't dislike full tang. I like full tang. I really do. But I also understand there comes a time where you have to use your skill set to make the knife work. So if I'm going to make myself use a skill set to make the rat tail tang work, I'm going to use the same skill set on this knife because theoretically it should last me much longer, correct? It should. Now, shaving up this firewood here, I really, when I started, I thought, man, I'm going to have to get a little bit, just enough to show, and then, you know, maybe use some of my bagged shavings. I didn't. Believe it or not, down towards the edge, even though the hair popping sharp was gone, I was able to get some really, really good shavings. I was also surprised because of the coating on this blade at how well it struck a ferro rod. There were several things that surprised me. The chopping, the 90-degree spine, really, really impressed with that. Now, moving on. Right there. That is my rug that we had in the house for, I don't know, 6-8 months. Megatron swaps them out ever so often. We've got it doubled and tripled up. This thing's still great penetration. Now think about it. That's a rug that we've got wrapped up 5, 6, 7 times. If you've never stabbed something like that, so we stabbed it a bunch more. We stabbed 2 different tires. One was a 10-ply, one was dry rotted, but we cut all the way around that sumbitch. It was a trailer tire that had all kind of reinforcement in it. I baton more than I ever usually do. Right here, we went super, that particular piece of wood, and I asked Kirk to verify. Now watch here. Zip, that piece of wood is one of those damn petrified red oaks that they sell for firewood at the box store. If you ever really want to test an edge on a knife, go get you a bag of that firewood during the winter. I think they make it out of concrete, and see what you can do. It stripped the wire. And when I think like, again, combat utility, I think you should, and this is just kind of goofy, but take out the enemy's tire, stripping wire, you know, doing different things. The knife has to serve a lot of different functions. I was really, really impressed. And yes, I missed it there. So we chopped a lot. I went out, the edge is gone. You can see it right there. Now what I did is I took one of those Smith sharpeners and brought it right back to life. So you're going to see this where it doesn't cut. I took 5 minutes worth of sharpening. You can check the stains on my shirt if you don't believe it. Didn't take that long. And we cut again. Listen guys, very impressed. This knife leads me to this. There was a time in this country where 22 veterans a day took their own lives. Now, stats are everywhere. We know that. That's why here on this channel, we focus on the number 0. Anything over 0 is simply unacceptable. Vets, we love you. Man, you have a place here. Guys, I back the blue. Catch a lot of flack for it and don't really give a shit. It's something I believe in. I'm not shoving it down your throat and I'm not arguing with you about it. I get it, right? Finally, if you are an addict, and I am, never quit quitting. Well, KBAR, so far, so good. Yes, I'm a fanboy, but you're talking to an impressed fanboy. I'm Scab. You're not.